Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Go Go Loser Ranger Season 1, Episode 10. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So immediately picking up in the aftermath of last episode, and Blue is starting to get impatient for XX to lead to the boss monster, and he starts it's like, oh, you want me to poke more holes in you, but then you have Sakurama, or D, stepping up. And it does seem like his cover is still holding strong. Like I said, how many people know about... We know the cadets know about it, but it seems like it is probably well known, probably by his sister, as well as probably other Rangers, Sakurama's approach of he wants unity between the monsters and humans. For Blue to not call him out for being suspicious. He knows oh, you were tricked by him. But it's also Sakurama's probably got the reputation of being very soft-hearted. So that's probably all. He's like, hey, you might be a prisoner of war, but let's treat them with respect. Because it's right, we shouldn't do all this. I get it, the monsters are our enemies, but Blue's enemies? These things are less, and the only real danger amongst them is the boss monsters. Outside of that, these other things are just, they're whatever. But, D brings up a really good point. He's like, the fact is, you have to be careful. When you look down upon people, you might need to be careful, because when you're looking down upon someone, you won't notice when they swipe at you, and it'll be your undoing because you underestimated them too much. Which obviously speaks volumes about D. Because no one's realized how far monsters come to infiltrate the Rangers, But either way, I wonder what... I'm trying to figure out, because the key situation is you have all 5 of the keys which XX managed to get, and they don't even have to use them to open the door. Blue opens it. So when they go inside, they find Peltorola, but he's a giant tree. So it's that was always there, right? So I guess maybe that's what Peltorola in his dormant form or something, and then maybe whatever the Peltorola that's been running around implanted itself, because she specifically went after the 5 keys for a reason. So that's why I was I guess maybe the real him, kind of the source of everything, is that tree, and he's been there the entire time, and none of them have known he's been there dormant the entire time, and maybe having that other Peltorola there kind of awakened that tree. I have no idea, because we have no idea where that one that got injured by Izomi, where that one fucked off to after, before the junior first ranks got there to the scene. But Blue decides he's going to try and handle this on his own. But then the tree laid basically all these eggs, and you have Peltorola in what I guess is its final form. Because it's so is this what it's been doing these past 12 years? It's been because it's because he's saying later on, I'm going to escape to the surface, and kind of basically there's plenty of food. So maybe it's a thing of over the years he's been killing people, just getting stronger and stronger. Because maybe his last clash with the Rangers left him so severely wounded, he needed all this time not only to recover his original power, but even go further beyond. But then it's if that was the case, wouldn't he have easily been able to beat Blue? Him and Blue are at a stalemate most of the time. He's wiping out the copies. It's kind of like a shadow clone situation of you got to find the real body and wipe it out. But Blue's kind of handling on his own. Like I said, he still walks away pretty messed up. But it also speaks volume. Well, at least in its a previous form, Peltorola had trouble against one junior first rank, Izomi. She got banged up, but it was still, like I said, a pretty split enough fight, because she got some damage on him. So it's unclear how this is all going to play out, but XX goes over to Peltorola and is oh my god, this is D, show your respect to him. And Peltorola is kind of, he has this weird perspective on things of why he's doing what he does. It's kind of once again, the violence and stuff. He's kind of I use violence to counter other violence. It's I'm going to end all war and destruction in the world by using death and destruction to, it's kind of I'll use my evil to destroy the greater evil and in turn create a peace. He does look at himself as a savior of this world while they're trying to dominate the world. Who knows what domination looks for them? We kind of got a peek through that, but we don't know what they look like beyond that. We still don't even know we know nothing about the monsters or where they came from, why they chose this planet. Are they from a different universe, different planet, more different galaxy or something, where they come from, why are they all about domination on this planet, There's also the Keepers. we got their little mascot, which is definitely tied to the divine artifacts, because once again those look like bones, and it all revolves around dragons. So it's like, how did that come about? There's so much to this world that we're only scratching the surface to the lore to this world, and we're only getting like, little IV drops about information about everything. So, but Pelterola plans on killing everyone that D has gotten close to, like the other pseudo losers. And without even really thinking about it, it was kind of on instinct. You have D attacking Petrola and killing one of his bodies. And, XX is like, why would you do that? He's like, what? Even he's like, what did I do? The thought of the people he cares about getting hurt, because they were all a means to an end to him, but he's grown attached to the humans, like the team he's been working with for the past couple episodes. He's become attached to them, just kind of like the same affinity he has for, like, because it's a different thing of like he found camaraderie there, whereas like the Dusters, like there is a camaraderie there, but we were all comrades stuck under the same boot of the Dragon Keepers. But he got like a different type of camaraderie because the Dusters, like, he's always been the one that's like, yeah, let's fight back against the Dragon Keepers, but the others have never really had that fight. The only other one that had that wasn't it F? And he'd sadly died a couple episodes back. I think that was F, wasn't it? The one that Red killed back in episode 2, I believe. So I think that's why he also found some camaraderie amongst the humans. He kind of likes them and their fighting spirit. He talks mad shit about them sometimes, but he does like them because he found some common ground with them in that capacity. So, but now the question is, like, what is D going to ultimately do as it comes down to it? Like, right, it's still Blue versus Petrola, but then there's one above surface who's like, oh, cool. Like, oh, the one down there, like, there is no real body situation. They're all the real me. Until you kill all of me, if even one of me manages to escape to the surface, I'll disappear, lay low again, and build up my strength. But before he could leave, our 4 first rankers show up, each utilizing one of their divine artifacts. It's kind of interesting. Like, Tokita has his, like, it's very reminiscent of Red's, where it's like, it's a massive, like, rifle cannon that fires like dragons. Kind of reminds. Well, it also kind of makes me think of like Goku's Isn't that called the Dragon Fist? The technique where he just like. I can't remember which. I want to say it was one of the Budokai games, wasn't it? That, or maybe there's a few of them where like his Super Saiyan 3 finisher or super is basically the Dragon Fist, because I think that's the only time he ever did it. At least in DBZ, I don't know. Once again, I'm not familiar enough with Super to know. Either way, I'm going on a tangent. It fires multiple, like, energy dragons. What's her name? Hisu. Hers is a mask that eats energy. And, who knows what else that thing can do, like, when it chomps down, but it can eat energy. Pink Big Dude. I don't know what his does. Like, it just seemed like it might be like a mace or a mallet, just, I guess, about knocking stuff back. And then all of a sudden you have Suzukiri's, hers is a fucking remote that she's just like, ooh, fast forward, mute. And I'm like, what the? That's literally the remote from Click. I was like, that seems... we don't even know the limitations of it, because I'm like, that seems like that might be the most broken one. What the fuck is that thing's limitations? That seems mega broken. But I even loved her, like, stopping to talk to Petrola. It's like, oh, if you want to kind of win, you need to kill all the junior first ranks first. It's like, well, I guess it's like, I guess because of the thing of all the first junior first ranks have, like, real divine artifacts. It goes back to what I was bringing up last episode, Blue and Izomi. Like, she gave him, like I said, it seems like the Keepers break off a piece of their divine artifacts and give them to the first, basically their right-hand people, the junior first ranks. Because there seem like to be legitimate divine artifacts, whereas other people have fake divine artifacts, like Home Dude from like episode 4. So, like I said, that's why I'm like, it feels like it has to be a thing of they break off, considering Blue was able to slot Izomi's piece in. So... also answers a question of back when the boss monsters were defeated. This Blue was around. Whatever group is currently... well, would she have... because she couldn't have been that old, because what happened... because like what happened with Sakurama and his family with Sakurama and his sister and his parents getting wiped out by Peltorola, he was like, they were kids at the time, so it's like there's no way his sister was pink at that time. So she had to become pink in more recent years. So there is a thing of some people have been slotted out in that time frame, you know? Who knows about yellow and green, but at least pink was. Seems like red and blue have been like through at least a good chunk of that. Because we know the OG blue, well, at least the one prior to the current blue, left. Because he like raised Sakurama and his sister, so... Like, that's the biggest thing I would... Like, I kept going back and forth. I'm like, well, are these the same people? Because, like, would you trust anyone else to know? Because even the first ranks, it seems like the only ones amongst the first ranks who know the truth about everything. I don't know if Izomi knows. I don't know if Tokido knows. But we know Suzukiri knows because she has plans on demolishing the Ranger organization for whatever reason, because we still don't know her motivation. But yeah, like, I mean, because like I said, her even planting the seeds of Peltorola being like, yo, you need to kill these people. I guess like dropping them will help heavily render, or at least kind of hinder the Rangers' power. So, but during the scuffle between Blue and the Peltorola, the one down below, because Peltorola is going to pull off some big attack, but he needs XX to buy him some time. But it was like, no, it's just time for him to get away. And so while he's knocked out, like during the altercation, D gets knocked out and he has a fantasy about like, yeah, here we are, you know, he's got XX by his side. They're treated as celebrities. This guy's like, oh my God, like, can you give me this signature? He's like, my daughter's a big fan of yours. XX is not a fan of the food, but D's like, nah, chef, it was good food. And then you have like the squad sitting with him, like Yamato, was it Usukubo? And Shippo and Koguma, all of them like sitting down with him, which obviously, you know, it's like sad because we know Koguma is dead. I mean, not unless there's some reveal like he was stashed somewhere by XX, he's pretty much dead. Because even Peltorola kind of confirmed he was dead, like even before he took off and left things to XX. But he has this fantasy about everything. It's basically... Well, we know, like, it's like, right, the monsters are running things, but the only monsters we saw were D and XX, and then all these other humans, and he's just talking about, like, oh, yeah, like, I dismantled the Rangers, I'm, like, the number one or highly ranked monster amongst women, you know, which is supposed to, like, upset Yamato. So it's this whole situation of, like, for him, it's meant to be a thing of, like, everything works out, world domination, I got rid of the Rangers, but I got to keep the monster side of things while also keeping my new friends until Peltorola shows up and kills everyone. And it's like, yeah, this was never going to play out like this. And even Sakurama shows up, be like, right, you're trying to be greedy, you're trying to have it all, but you have to choose. Are you going to be a monster and destroy the Rangers, or are you going to join with me and fight against the monsters? Even though Sakurama, because Sakurama's plan is to kind of have a union between both, whereas like his plan has just been like, because he's like, yeah, you never thought beyond world domination of, yeah, your plan is to just dominate the world, but beyond that, what are you going to do? And it never really occurred to D what that meant. It's just like, right, this has been their mission, and they've never, like, it's just like, that's been some goal, but that's the problem when your entire life is after a goal, you don't think about the aftermath of it. So that's something he has to figure out. And especially XX is questioning, like, what do we do now? You know, a monster's duty is to fight and, you know, world dominate, but also protect the boss monsters. She even said, like, they're like our parents. So how can we turn against our parents? And it's like, what is our purpose beyond that? And that's where D starts finding his resolve. So while that's happening, all the cadets upstairs are trying to figure out what's going on. Haven't heard a bell go off. They find out about Peltorola. It was specifically Yamato who caught wind of one of them flying away. He's like, dude, I need to, like, whatever it is, something inside of me saying, I cannot let whatever that is get away. I thought it was interesting because Yukino ran into, like, Peltorola and just turned around and was like, yeah, I think I kind of found the wrong person or some shit like that. And I even love Shippo kind of like he shuts down. He's not even fighting Pink Dude anymore, but he shuts down just being in his presence anymore of like, oh, I'm weak in comparison. It's like, is that just going to be your thing? It kind of reminds me of like, it's not even really a spoiler, how Sanji is like for a good, like a little bit of time, post time skip, Sanji in One Piece was completely useless with women around because of him being how he trained in that 2-year time period, how that deprived him of women, and now he like basically has an overreaction to being around women. It basically made him useless for a bit. That was kind of his kryptonite for a little while in the story. So it kind of feels like that. It's going to be probably a while before Shippo can like really get over that psychological hump or whatever. But yeah, Yamato almost got it too until Shion showed up and it's like, right, a boss monster. I knew you guys were around. Which I also forgot to talk about that. Because it's also like, understandably, he doesn't really have an opportunity to bring it up. He wanted to talk a little bit, but Blue was like, nah, fuck that, we're not talking. But D, like, never got an answer to where the fuck have you guys been past 12 years? Because he specifically, if I remember correctly, and do correct me in the comments down below, didn't Peltorola use the specific word like I forgot what damn it, I'm forgetting the exact word, but he basically implied, like, the way he said it was almost like, oh, the boss monsters didn't die, we kind of left you, which is like, wait, what? So you're not even the only, like, are the other boss monsters all still alive here? So, like, I mean, once again, how did like, Dragon Keepers let that slip under their radar? I mean, I guess it helps, it's eventually going to help sell this story more of like, oh my god, the dangers, boss, like, it's going to make people rely on you more. But I mean, these bastards are tough, like, you can barely handle them on your own. To be fair, even the junior ringers can do some damage, like I said, we saw, like, Izomi, like, she did pretty well, she came out banged up, but she was still standing on her own. She soloed Peltorola, not completely, but damaged him up pretty quickly. There was like 4 going up against 1 Peltorola, and once again, he's even stronger than that form when he was fighting Izomi. So I don't know what to quite make of it, like how they let that slide, like how they got duped. I wonder if because you don't know how much Suzukiri knows, so has she known the entire time that the boss monsters are alive? It's like, not, because I'm like, there's no way she's like a boss monster or something in disguise herself. It's like, it can't be. I mean, we don't know if the boss monster, because my theory for a while was like, did they replace the Rangers, the Dragon Keepers? That was my theory early on, but I was like, no, it doesn't seem like that's the case, but could she be? Because we don't know if they can shapeshift. I mean, we know they can change their form, obviously, but like, we don't know if they're able to like shapeshift in the human form. So like, could a boss monster be disguising itself as Suzukiri, like the real Suzukiri's dead, or what that thing is? Does she have a connection to the monsters? Like, why is she so willing to side with them? I mean, we even saw it with Koguma, like, just to get his own means, he decided to fight alongside D despite finding out D's a monster. But it's also, he's like, well, I see you, like, whatever your intentions, you are a good person or monster. I know, I see the good in you. So that was also the thing too, like the Peltorola reference Koguma being dead, and obviously Koguma's buddy shows up being like, yo, my buddy was a monster. So I don't know if they're even piecing it together about that being a different monster disguised as Koguma, or were they going to assume it was Peltorola in disguise? Either way, he's just like, oh yeah, like that one, I sent him on his way, and that was enough to piss everyone off. And at the same time as they're about to duke it out with this monster, here comes Fighter D with his new motivations. It's like, oh, which side are you going to choose? You're going to choose the Rangers? You're going to choose your monsters? And he's like, nah, I'm going to choose my own path. And it might be a bad choice, but, you know, I'm greedy. I'm a nefarious monster, so I'm going to take everything and go for everything and slice down anyone, even a boss monster, if you get in the way of what I want. Because he wants it all. There's a whole notion, and that was supposed to be like the lesson he was supposed to learn from Sakurama in his like dream-like vision of, oh, you can't have everything, because you try to get everything, it's just going to fall apart and you're going to walk away with nothing. But D was like, fuck that, I'm going to get everything I want, greedy or not. Might be the wrong decision, might be a bad move, but it's going to be my move because this is my decision. I'm not going left, I'm not going right, I'm going straight through the middle, my own path, my own decision. So Ranger or monster, because he wants what he wants, and it's like he wants to protect this life that he's kind of building for himself, pretending to be Sakurama. He wants to keep them, but also he wants kind of probably to free all the dusters from it. So who knows if he's even going down the Sakurama route, that this might be even a different path that might eventually butt heads with what Sakurama wants. It's just they both kind of want, they're down their respective third paths. That's also another thing too. We have not seen what the hell Sakurama's been up to for the past what? This is 6 episodes? Because the last time we saw him was, I mean, really technically the beginning of episode 5 was the last time we saw the real Sakurama. So I'm curious to see what happens with XX after this. First and foremost, I was also, because I brought up previously, what about her arms? She could take pieces of herself to recover her arms, or her arms forever be gone. What is she going to do now that she feels kind of purposeless? It seems like this might be the only Peltarola that might be left, the only one left. So all they have to do is like take care of it, and it's dead. Will she try to get in the way? What did D do with her? Like when she was having a breakdown about her, her purpose, where she kind of feels lost in her purpose. D ended up finding his, and maybe they'll butt heads over that. I thought they were going to end up on the opposite sides, which they kind of did. But who knows what the end result's going to be now that she feels so lost and purposeless. And like I said, he found his. So it's going to be so interesting to see where the next episode takes us with all of this, how this all plays out. I'm curious if there's going to be any other Rangers showing up, or rather any other Keepers showing up, or is it just going to be Blue's situation to contain? Because he hasn't popped up he's not up there with all the other cadets. It's literally everyone with the exception of Kaguma, sadly. But all of them united in the purposes of taking down. That might be what kind of wins them like their positions respectively, is that when it's all said and done, they are able to take down a boss monster, and that might be enough to kind of graduate all of them, so that might be what the end result of this is. We'll ultimately have to wait to see, because I mean, you also can't be too careful, because any one of them could catch it like next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.